editor with the States Gazette. Well, we've been called to the wild west of America today, to the new frontier, for the annual ING UK Real Estate Investment Management Property Seminar. Let's go and hear what the outlook is for property for the coming 12 months.
I gotta tell you before you hire me, I don't work cheap.
Our view is perhaps things aren't quite as bad as many people think or as we read in the papers. There's a lot of good news out there in terms of jobs being created, in terms of investor confidence.
Round and around she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows.
For property, the risks in the market are actually they fall into two categories. The first is the occupational side, and there I think things are improving because I think that actually rents in the market now, in aggregate terms anyway, have probably stopped falling and stabilised. That removes a great deal of risk to the cash flows. But if you look at the capital markets themselves, I think the risk ahead of us, I think it's some way off yet. But the risk ahead of us is what happens to the yield profile that we've got on all investment asset classes, not just property, when interest rates start to rise.
Get 3 coffins ready.
There's undoubtedly choice out there, but I think what has really changed is in the sort of period 2003 to 7, those real sort of boom years, frankly virtually anyone can make money from property. I think what has changed now is everyone needs to go back to fundamentals really. It's all about really understanding the property market, so understanding what your investors are trying to achieve, understanding the different characteristics of different sectors, and understanding what is driving the occupier market. And I think the skill really is in marrying the three of those together to identify stock that meets your needs. But we every day we have active people who are in the market, and we are finding the stock. So it is there to be done, and I think it's just a lot harder, and perhaps needs probably a lot more expertise.
Crazy bell ringer was right. Money to be made in a place like this.
You have the political risk as well. I think Western governments, and the UK government is no different to any of those, are really concerned that they don't get into a deflationary spiral, and they will do whatever they have to do to ensure that there's enough inflationary pressure in the economy to spark things off. Now, the danger of inflation getting out of control, we've just had some quantitative easing, which is finished at the beginning of this year. Now it may be that we follow the Americans and we have another quantitative easing session next year. If that's the case, it is building up the risk, because this has never been done before. Nobody's sure how this is going to turn out. It does build up the risk that bond yields at some stage might have to rise in order to head off the inflationary risk. And if that is the case, then the authorities may lose some control over it, and it may be that those bond yields rise very rapidly.
I think the other issue, though, is really one of prime versus secondary. And as we sit here today, there is no doubt that I think there is a preference for prime type stock, because people have circled the wagons and taken a far more sort of safety first view. But going forward, there is a lot of inherent value building up in secondary stock. The question really is when it tips from being build up of value to actually a buying opportunity.